Hi, this is Arthur Robinson Jr. I am the creator of PowerfulInterviews.com. I am the creator of AudioSecretsTrainingEvent.com. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this phenomenal video. In this interview, you're going to experience life-changing information that you will not find anywhere else. I have secured an incredible interview with a great friend of mine, international speaker, the multi-millionaire, Brad Lea. Brad Lea, he is the CEO and the founder of LightSpeed VT. LightSpeed VT stands for virtual training. So he has a successful virtual training solutions company that helps entrepreneurs and business owners to go to the next level. He has built relationships, and they are his clients, with Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, and many other successful business leaders from all over the world. So in this interview, you're going to hear exclusively how the real Brad Lea built his virtual training company from scratch. Also in this interview, the real Brad Lea, he breaks down layman's terms about focus on your goals and don't differentiate your goals, just make your goals happen, and by you making your goals happen, you have to change your actions. Also in this interview, the real Brad Lea, he breaks down layman's terms about how to build a successful brand, and you need to build your personal brand and promote your personal brand on all the social media sites and much, much more. So right about now, go get your pen and your pad, sit back and relax, and write down some notes. In this interview that I'm going to reveal to each and every one of you with my great friend, international speaker, the multi-millionaire, Brad Lea. This interview is going to change your life. And he also has his own show on his YouTube channel, which is called The Bottom Line. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So check it out.
I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the powerful Brad Lea to the show.
Well, thank you, Arthur. Hell of an introduction.
I'd like to thank you, Brad, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the listeners worldwide about your phenomenal company, LightSpeed VT, and about building wealth. I gladly appreciate it.
Well, I'll share what I've learned. Hopefully it helps somebody.
To everyone that's listening on the show, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend, the real Brad Lea, is going to break down layman's terms about his phenomenal training solutions company and about building wealth. Is that correct, Brad?
Yeah, well, you know, Arthur, I figured I would just jump on the call, answer your questions, and see what happened. But yeah, that does sound accurate.
Now, what I'd like to know, and can you explain to the listeners in layman's terms, who is the phenomenal Brad Lea? How long you been in your powerful industry, and what is your expertise?
Brad Lea is a 47-year-old, serial entrepreneur that, failed at about 55,000 things and then finally kind of caught one that worked called LightSpeed VT. You kind of said it in the beginning. I was a sales trainer. I trained people how to sell, how to close deals, how to prospect, how to basically make a great living in any sales arena. So when I was doing that, I just kind of realized that it's very difficult to keep training effective when you are only there for a day or two. So I developed a platform called LightSpeed and started using that, and it worked very well. So what happened was a lot of the top trainers and speakers that were out there in the industry started noticing the platform. So we started private labeling it for those companies and individuals, and ultimately decided to get out of the content business because there was a lot of experts and gurus that we had to compete with in that field, but nobody really had the technology to scale. and create recurring revenue and help companies even better than live or more traditional training methods. So we private labeled the platform, started focusing on the platform, and here we are 15 years later, and now we are in many vertical markets. We have millions of users on the platform through our clients, and I've kind of evolved into a technology expert.
Now, you say that you involved into a technology expert, and I know that technology is constantly evolving. Now, I know a couple of years ago, Google bought YouTube for $1.6 billion, so video is hot right now. Can you explain to the listeners the power of video, and should entrepreneurs and business owners use video to expand their brand?
Well, absolutely. Video's preferred probably, 9 out of 10 times. Of course, I'd like to point out that 72% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So you don't know if you can trust that number. But I do know that I prefer video. A lot of people prefer video. But I would think if you have a business or you're an entrepreneur of any kind, not only should you definitely be using video. I mean, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000,000. But ultimately, you want to create, your brand, your personal brand, and make sure that you're on social media. And with the apps nowadays, anybody's a broadcaster. You can flip open your phone, press a button, and broadcast to the world.
Let me ask you this, Brad. When I'm having a remarkable conversation with a man or a woman that's an entrepreneur or a business leader, how would I know that there would be good prospects for you in regards to what you are currently passionate about?
They were good prospects for me. They would be seeking to help people in some fashion, to share knowledge and skill set, and would need or desire a way to do it with scalability and be able to make that reach.
This is an incredible interview, and I appreciate you coming on my show today. Brad, can you explain to the listeners what is your definition of marketing, and what does marketing mean to you?
That's a loaded question. We were having that conversation the other day. I think marketing is getting your phone to ring. A lot of people have it confused with sales. Marketing and sales are two different things. Marketing is getting your phone to ring, getting your brand recognized, getting interest piqued. Direct mail, television, radio, print, social media. The marketing is getting your phone to ring, getting interest.
So would you say that marketing done right is the quickest path to the sale?
I would say marketing done right is the quickest way to have the opportunity to sell.
So basically, sales is the avenue to more revenue.
Absolutely. Sales is life, man. Everybody's in sales whether they think so or not.
Now, you are connected to a lot of powerful experts all over the world. Can you explain to the listeners what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Well, I've received quite a bit, so it's hard to, rank them. But one of the things that resonated and seemed to hold true in my experience was from Zig Ziglar. He said, and everyone's familiar with Zig Ziglar. He told me one time, I was sitting with him in Dallas, and he's well known for it, but he said, the best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want.
Wow.
So that resonated. So again, people don't buy products, They don't buy technology. They don't buy training. They don't buy podcasts. What they're buying is the result or the solution in which that product will do. So if you try and figure out how to solve people's problems, which is helping people, obviously the better of a problem solver you are, the more financially successful you'll be.
So once people like you, respect you, and trust you, that's where their minds are made up and they want to invest in you because you are the brand?
Well, I would agree with that.
Now, Brad, I love to read, and reading is a lost art today. Can you explain to the listeners what books do you like to read, and what books do you recommend for the listeners to read?
Well, I personally wait for the VT to come out. VT meaning virtual training. So we take books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and we turn them into interactive virtual training modules, to where instead of just reading a book and hoping you understand what the author meant, we create interactive virtual modules that will allow you to actually learn and retain what the author intended. So it's a much deeper learning experience. So I tend to, get the VTs to these books, but there's a lot of great books out there. I mean, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are two crucial books. Anybody starting out in business or doing business in any way should grab those books or go to the VT version of those and not only take them themselves, but make sure everyone in their entire organization is done it. 10X by Grant Cardone is an excellent book. Makes you think big, gets you out of the mindset of thinking too small. Man, there's a list a mile long.
Wow. So your brain is your most powerful asset, but if it's not used correctly, your brain could be your most powerful liability?
100%.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
Now, Brad, let's talk about delegation. Now, I know the minimum wage of a millionaire is around $524 an hour. So I always tell my listeners, what can you delegate for $524 an hour, or what can you delegate that's within your current budget? Can you explain to the listeners the power of delegation? And should entrepreneurs and business leaders delegate tasks out that they're not currently good at so they could just focus on increasing their revenues?
Well, I mean, time is the most valuable commodity, right? So anytime you can hire somebody to do a job that you don't have to, that frees up your time. So anytime you can, invest money to get time, it's an excellent deal. Excellent deal. So when you can, delegate any kind of task, it's better than doing it yourself. I mean, I can wash a car, but I'm not going to wash a car. I have better things to do than wash cars. I have more, productive ways to spend my time, even though, again, I mean, I can wash a car with the best of them. But, whether it's washing a car or doing a sales meeting, you need to duplicate yourself, right? So I forget who said it, but someone very smart and successful said that they would rather have 1% of the efforts of 1,000 men than 100% of the efforts of one. So again, just duplication. So I would delegate anything you can afford to delegate. I would delegate. I would assign it, hold them accountable, and free up your time to, either scale or duplicate the productivity, right? So.
Brad Lee, I appreciate you coming on my show today, because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners all over the world that they can have a successful life, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
Excellent. Good idea. People should turn off the news. People should tune out the haters. People need to look inward. You know, every problem you have, you're the fault. You're the blame. You're the originator. You know, life is about, you know, making choices. Some are big choices, some are small choices, but they all accumulate into what's called your life. So if you look around, you're not where you want to be. You don't have what you want to have. You know, there's one person to blame, and you're staring at him in the mirror. You know, whatever choices you made along the way is why you are where you are. So, you know, start improving your choices, and you'll start improving your life.
So you only get one life to live, but there are no sequels.
Well, we don't know that, but nobody's ever came back to tell us, right?
That's true. Now, Brad, you are basically dominating the training solutions industry. Can you explain to the listeners what is the blueprint for entrepreneurs and business owners to raise capital to expand their operation to the $5 million or $20 million level or higher?
You know, I don't know. I didn't raise capital, so I don't have an answer for that. You know, what I did was went out and sold the product and reinvested the money. So I didn't get to scale as fast as I would have liked, you know, but a lot of people will raise $20 million, burn through it before they make their first dollar. You know, that's definitely one way to go. I didn't go out and raise capital, so I wouldn't be able to answer that question or give anyone help. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I can only tell you what I did. And I did not raise capital, so I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do that.
Explain to the listeners, Brad, what inspired you to write your phenomenal book, The Real Deal?
Again, same thing Zig Ziglar said. You know, I was looking to help others, and that was based on, you know, helping people understand leasing and the power of it and what's behind it and how to present it. So it kind of helped both parties. On one hand, it helped people understand it so they could understand the value of leasing depreciating items. And then on the other hand, people that had to sell a product through leasing, it helped them learn how to present a lease in such a way that somebody, you know, actually understood it so they would do it. You always want to lease depreciating items.
Now, as a published author, should entrepreneurs and business owners that are in the process of publishing an information product, which would be their book, should they self-publish a book or should they give it a major publisher to publish their first book in a major way?
Well, I don't think it's a choice, you know. You do what you got to do. There's a lot of people that are never going to get a book publisher to publish their book because they don't have a following or a reach. Publishers want to sell books. So if you have 1 million followers or fans on Facebook, you can write a book and have a major publisher publish it. All they're doing is putting up the money for you. Otherwise, what you do is you publish your own book. You know, a book's just a calling card. A book is just something that says, look at me, I know something. So again, I mean, if you're trying to get recognition, I would recommend writing a book. But unfortunately, you can't. It's not a choice whether you know, have it published by a major publisher or do it yourself. It's kind of like you do it yourself to begin with.
Now, I know that the speaking industry is a $780 billion industry, so it's huge right now. And we have entrepreneurs and business owners that's on the show today. They are in the process of pursuing a professional speaking career. What advice would you give the listeners in regards to should they speak for free when they're speaking on other people's platforms, or should they charge a published speaking fee when they're starting out as a professional speaker?
Well, everything's supply and demand, right? If you don't have any time, you charge a fee. If you have nothing but time, you do it for free, so you would become in demand and have no time. So again, I would start out doing it for free if that was, necessary to get exposure. But before I went out and tried to be a speaker, I would educate myself on the techniques. I mean, that's basically a job. It's a show. A lot of the speakers, they've got that stuff rehearsed. They've got that down. We've got a virtual training system called FRIPP VT, FRIPPVT.com. You go there, you study your butt off with Patricia Fripp, who trains some of the top speakers and trainers, some of the top CEOs on how to do powerful presentations, persuasive presentations, all the techniques, the right pauses, the right hand movement. And I would educate yourself first with a program like that, and then I would do anything it took to get exposure until everybody kind of wanted their time or your time, and then I would start charging.
Wow. So basically, when you become a professional speaker, you have to model other speakers that has been successful in the speaking arena?
Yeah, well, again, you don't have to. Success leaves clues, Arthur. So, if you happen to be close enough to one of them that will mentor you and tell you what they did, I would imagine if you did the same thing would happen.
Brad, explain to the listeners, how can entrepreneurs and business leaders get out of their comfort zones? Because I know that some people, comfort zones are actually their failure zones.
Well, absolutely, man. If you're comfortable, you're not moving, you're not changing, you're not evolving if you're comfortable. Success is uncomfortable, believe it or not. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. When I tweet and do Facebook posts, a lot of the times it gets retweeted and turned into memes and what have you, because I just tell people the facts, and the facts are success is uncomfortable. So if you really, really want to be comfortable, I would get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Now, Brad, I wrote down some phenomenal words, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, so you can rate them in your own powerful way. Are you ready?
Sure.
Accountability.
5.
Perseverance.
5.
Building great relationships.
4.
Marketing.
4.
Branding.
4.
Value.
5.
Wealth.
2.
Health.
5.
Family.
5.
Love.
5.
Expansion.
5.
Capital.
2.
Success.
2. Success is an opinion, man. I know a guy whose car didn't break down on the way to work, and to him, that's successful.
All right, that was good. That was really good. Brad, can you explain to the listeners exactly where they can find you?
You can find me on Facebook or Twitter. It's The Real Brad Lee, that's spelled L-E-A. The Real Brad Lee is pretty much usually how you find me. We had a couple of people out there posting as me, so I had to get The Real in front of my name. But Brad Lee on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Blab, Periscope, and Snapchat.
Brad, can you explain to the listeners, how can entrepreneurs and business owners fill up their pipeline to do more deals?
Say that one again.
How can entrepreneurs and business owners fill up their pipeline to create massive deals for themselves as well as for their sales teams or marketing teams?
Man, you got to develop steel knuckles. Knock on doors, make phone calls, man. Too many people think that phone is an 800-pound device they can't lift up. Get on the phone, make 1,000 calls. You know, you ask enough people who, you know, it's a numbers game, man. So you want to fill up your pipeline? You know, talk to 25 times the people you're doing now. Instead of going home at 5 p.m., go home at 10 p.m. Knock on doors, make phone calls every day, all day. Everywhere you go, introduce yourself. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Bottom line. Sales is a numbers game, man. There's nothing magical.
Now,
if you talk to 5 people, Arthur, how many possible sales could you make?
Well, I am a relentless learner and a relentless implementer. And I do agree that you have to take action if you want to have positive things to manifest in your life.
Correct. But answer my question. If you talk to 5 people, how many possible sales could you make?
5.
Incorrect.
Ooh.
You could make 100 because you're going to ask every one of those people to buy, and then you're going to ask who they know that they want to buy, and through network and prospecting and asking for referrals and flipping the script, you could end up with 100 sales from 5 people. See, that's what most people don't realize. They make a sale, they go on down the road. Well, the person that you made the sale to knows people you don't know. Strangers have what you want. They know people. They know prospects. They know what you need to know. So again, most salespeople, they'll talk to 5 people, sell them all something, and feel pretty good about that. If I talk to 5 people and sell them all something, then I'm going to sit back down with them and ask them who they also know that I can sell something to.
So referral marketing is definitely powerful for the entrepreneur and business owner?
Absolutely.
What is the blueprint for entrepreneurs and business leaders to grow their own power base?
Same answer. More hands you shake, more money you make, man. Get out there. Don't be some lump under a log. People aren't going to come to your house and buy your product. People aren't going to come to your house and recognize you. You got to get out there, help people, talk to people, introduce yourself, introduce your product relentlessly. And when you want to go home, let's say it's 10 p.m., you've been doing it all day and you're dead tired, you want to go home, do it some more. Make some more calls. Knock on some more doors. People say, well, 10 o'clock people are sleeping. Well, then call outside your time zone. Call internationally.
You are experiencing a life-changing, powerful interview, and you are hearing it first from Arthur Robinson Jr.'s PowerfulInterviews.com.
Can you explain to the listeners what is your general insight about direct response marketing?
Well, again, I think any form of marketing is better than no marketing, right? That old adage is, if you don't advertise, don't worry, nothing will happen. But direct response is effective. Any form of marketing is effective because, if you do a Periscope and there's 9 people watching you, you think, well, why would I do it for 9 people? Because it's 9 more people that weren't watching you when you didn't do it. And if you're hearing what I'm saying is, man, you want to get 7 billion people to know who you are. Some are going to hate you, some are going to love you. But at the end of the day, your job should be to introduce yourself to every single human being on this earth and make an impact to where they remember you.
You mentioned that word haters, and actually I love haters because I look at haters as my helpers. They keep me strong and keep me focused on the things that I know that I love to do, which I love creating value for the masses. Yeah.
Well, I don't love haters. I wish everybody loved me, but the fact is not everyone is going to. So I don't necessarily love haters, but I don't mind them. In other words, you get some haters, that means you're getting some attention.
So money follows attention.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I always say if nobody disagrees with you, it's because nobody sees you.
Wow. That's a powerful statement he just said. Now, you definitely are on top of your game in your industry. What mistakes do you see entrepreneurs and business owners making in the training solutions industry?
I see them making the mistake of listening to others and quitting, or not going fast enough. I mean, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. At the end of the day, people will tell you you can't do it. I mean, so many people told me this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. Now about 12 of them are working for me. At the end of the day, entrepreneurs make the mistake of quitting, giving up, believing the fact that they're not going to make it. And ultimately, they quit. So, I mean, if I could give any advice out there to anybody, it would be to, focus on what you want. Put your eyes down, your head down, and work for it for 90 days. And at the end of 90 days, I want you to look up, and if you don't have what you set your sights on, look back down for another 90 days. And in one of those 90-day cycles, I promise you're going to look up and you're going to attain what it is you set out to attain. But you have to have definitive purpose. You have to go after it with 100%. Every word out of your mouth, every move that you make is going towards that goal. You have to live it, breathe it, and desire it to a point that there's nothing more you would rather do than attain that goal. And anything is possible. Anyone can do anything if they have the right mindset. And the right mindset is 100% never going to quit. I'm going to do it unless I die or attain it. And I can promise you that 90% of the people will attain it before they die.
Brad, from your own experience, what do billionaires and millionaires do on a consistent, regular basis that unfortunately broke entrepreneurs just don't do?
Look, a lot of people have, breaks, or, they accidentally ran into somebody, or they got lucky, or whatever people want to say. But I think what the successful people do, if we're claiming success as financial achievement, because again, I think it goes beyond just money, but I think what they've done and what other people stopped doing is they believed in their product and their goal, and they didn't quit. They kept going. And not only that, they were very persuasive, obviously. Somebody had to sell something. So if you're financially well off in your money, I promise you, if you look at the core of that, you get your money by solving people's problems. I mean, that is the one thing that generates revenue, is solutions. You bought your phone not because it was a phone. You bought your phone because you needed to make a phone call, and that phone solved your problem. Your car solves a problem. Your home solves a problem. Food solves a problem. Everything you buy solves a problem. The human being is driven by one thing: survival. And survival, a lot of people think that means staying alive. Dude, you can survive at high levels of comfort, and you're still surviving. But the human being, our what's born within us is the need to survive. And with that,